All right, thanks for checking this out. This is a booklet that I designed to help you teach your students about the principles of art. I've taught it to elementary and also high school, so it's just a nice guide or a tool to kind of assist you in that. The PDF file that you can download is actually 6 pages that are meant to be printed double-sided. I'm at home right now and I don't have access to a printer that does double-sided printing. So what I did is I just printed all 6 pages, and then I found the ones that are supposed to go back to back. So the title and end page is supposed to get paired up with the pattern and movement page, and then you'd fold it. So you can kind of figure that out. It's pretty easy once you print everything off. So if you want to do double printing it, double-sided, you're going to have to figure that out with your printer. Every printer is a little bit different with orientation and how you feed it through the machine. But a little trial and error or referencing the manual should help you. Once you have it all done, you can fold it, you can staple it certainly, or not. You can leave it alone. One recommendation is if you do it double-sided, I mean, it saves like about half the paper, which is excellent, but then you're probably limited to crayons or colored pencils because it may bleed through to the other side. So these papers are actually 2 because I wasn't able to print double-sided at the making of this video. Anyway, so just real quick little recap here. We have the title page, which you can have your students color, write their name here. And these 2 pages, just be forewarned, I changed slightly since I made this book. So pattern, there will be a description here that's technically a element, not a principle, but it leads into repetition here. So we talk about how repetition is something repeated over and over, but isn't necessarily a pattern. There's just a coloring page right here. We had 1 extra page left. Balance, so talking about, and again, I made a couple little just design changes on this page, talking about what does balance look like in art. It's kind of a visual weight thing, so down here you can have your students complete the image to make it feel more visually balanced, and there's so many ways to do that. Page 5 is just a little illustration and description of proportion and scale. And then on page 6, you challenge your students to use scale and proportion to draw something big and scary, or it could be silly, but this guy's reacting like he's terrified, so you can make kind of a monster there. And then page 7 is harmony. So basically harmony is when everything seems to fit together. So your challenge is to expand upon the circle here. Contrast is whenever opposing or opposites are put next to each other. So light and dark, curly, smooth, happy, sad. And then you challenge your students to color this using contrast. So they could do color, they could do value. It's kind of however you want to do it. Page 9 talks about emphasis. How can you create emphasis in an artwork? So it could just be color, but it could also be value. It could be textures, lots of different things. How do you draw emphasis on one of these objects? And then finally, movement. Movement's when art feels as though there's movement or suggests movement. So these are kind of a cartoony comic book way of showing movement, but you can also kind of show your students examples of that as you go through. But again, this is kind of just a quick reference. And then there's the end. So hopefully you find that beneficial. I really encourage you to walk through it with your students rather than simply handing it to them and telling them to fill it out.